Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. That's okay.
You have no shame.
Welcome back to the 2010 premiere of the Jacked Up Fantasy Football Preview Show. I'm your commissioner along with Zach Renisevic. We're going to break down team by team, and we're doing something different this year where everyone's going to get their own show. You guys will have to guess for a few minutes here to figure out who we're going to start with. But Kume, it's good to be back, man. It's been 8 long months, and I'm excited about this show. I'm excited about the season. The draft went relatively smooth considering one guy was bowling, one guy overslept.
I was impressed by Boban's draft, considering he was imitating Kingpin and trying to draft. I think he did a pretty good job of it.
Exactly.
Compared to people that were actually there. I mean,
actually it went smooth.
They should be ashamed of themselves. He did pretty good.
The show is brought to you by Heineken Light only. They're our exclusive sponsor of this preview show. Cheers. Let's get right into the preview. The show is hosted by the back-to-back, the one and only back-to-back league champion, the Archon Tigers, and of course, yours truly, the commissioner. We're going to start off by previewing, that's correct, the Primetimers and Ryan Jennings. How's that for a mugshot?
It looks like a car salesman. Can I put you in a Dodge Nitro today?
Well, he's in real estate, so he is in sales.
Looking good, Ryan. I feel like you're right behind me like you were at the draft.
If the war chant of FSU didn't give it away, the mugshot did. So we're going to start with Ryan Jennings, the Primetimers. We're going to break down his team, and we're going to talk about how we think he did and the predictions. Let's start off with a quick history of the Primetimers. They've been in the league for 5 years, so pretty much since we started the league. His career record is just under 500, so
he's mediocre.
He started off great. He actually was runner-up in 2006 in our first season, but after that, every year he has gotten worse and worse. And for the first time ever, he has had the worst record in 2009, and he gets rewarded with the #1 overall pick. So that's really, we're going to talk about each team's history here, and of course we have 2 expansion teams, but we're going to give everybody a little bit of a breakdown of how each team did so far in their history. So let's start with the Primetimer starting quarterback, Jay Cutler. You are the expert analyst here. I'm going to give you that title from now on since you won the championship 2 years in a row. Your opinion of Jay Cutler?
Jay Cutler is solid, good quarterback. He's got Mike Martz as the offensive coordinator this year. Ryan picked him up in the 7th round. I think that's about where he went in a lot of drafts. He's got weapons with Knox and Roma Shodu, and he's got the tight end Clark there. I think that's a decent pick, but I would not have picked him. I would have taken, who do I have him taking? I would have took Matt Schaub with the 3rd pick instead of Calvin Johnson. I would have loaded up with CJ, Miles Austin, and Schaub instead of Calvin Johnson.
Well, he doesn't have Calvin Johnson. He has Chris Johnson.
Calvin Johnson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you mean the 3rd pick?
Yeah, I would have taken.
I'm sorry.
I should have specified.
I'm sorry.
At that position,
Long day.
I would have took Matt Schaub. He dropped all the way down to Boban.
I got you.
And I think Schaub is explosive. He would have complemented Austin and Johnson really nice.
So instead
it's not a bad pick.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go at that 3rd slot, I think you get the best guy available and load up while you're at it. Calvin Johnson's nice, but he's got Stafford as a quarterback too.
Exactly. Very questionable. There's only 5 or 6 good quarterbacks. We agree, right? And then there's a big drop off.
Definitely.
Right? So how surprised were you? Because I was shocked, and he kind of screwed up my whole draft strategy. I didn't expect him to go back to back. Granted, they're stud receivers, but Are you shocked? I mean, you kind of answered the question. You wanted to take the quarterback if it was.
I think it's a nice tandem to have, but I think you build each position with your first 3 picks, unless there's really a guy there that, if let's just say Fitzgerald was there, I would have maybe taken Fitzgerald, but he wouldn't know. I'm sorry, Moss is who I'm thinking. Someone like Moss drops down. That wouldn't have happened either.
No,
I wouldn't have taken.
It's a snake format.
Yeah,
I
understand.
First, so
as yourself, I work today too, and we're trying to put this up together on the fast track. Calvin Johnson, not a bad pick. I would have taken Shaw. Who would you have taken there? Would you have gone quarterback?
I would have taken Phillip Rivers.
Okay.
I mean, which they went back to back.
Right.
I mean, but I couldn't. I agree with you. I mean, Schaub had one, had a great year.
I would have taken Phil Rivers, but his left tackle's out. So that's your blind side.
Yeah.
That's why I don't take
No,
Rivers.
it's a good point. I mean, Matt Schaub had 47 plus 100 yards or whatever.
But Ryan,
passing.
I mean, I like your draft through the first 5 rounds, and then after you got Cutler, you just took a shit there.
Yeah. Yep.
I
agree.
I don't think you're a bad team. I think you're better than last year, but it's hard to fuck up when you got all these drafts.
When you have the first pick, and you got 3 out of the first 25 picks, I mean, you're going to get 3 quality guys.
Right.
Whether he took, Jennings or Schaub or Rivers or any of these guys after him, he's going to get 3 good guys.
He's lucky I didn't take Austin and Romo. That's who originally was slated to take.
The tandem.
And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, we'll talk about Romo on my show, but it sounds like you like my pick there.
Yeah.
Number 1 running back, obviously you can't screw this up. Even Ryan, who went to FSU, can't fuck this up. Chris Johnson, was he the overwhelming number 1?
He was the overwhelming number 1. The only thing I'm worried about him is he got the big contract now. Does he continue to keep driven? And I think Peterson's the best running back in the league right now, with Ryan Matthews right on his tail. But that's
really? Wow. Well, that's another show.
And Ray Rice.
All right. I'm actually worried about just his size. He's a tiny guy. He is the fastest guy, so he is able to elude tackles, like Barry Sanders used to. But, one of these days, he's going to get popped, and I'm wondering if he can get up.
What happens when these defenses just start stacking the box? Who does the Titans have?
Why didn't they do it last year?
They will do it this year. They got his number. He's got a target on his back.
Why wait till he has 2,000 rushing yards
well,
to do it?
he is, like I said, he's got a target on his back now.
Okay.
He's not going to do 2,000 yards again.
Okay.
Put that down in your book.
Okay. Put it on the board. We talked about the starting quarterbacks for every team. We're going to talk about the number 1 running back. And this is the only time that I'm bringing up 2 receivers. Usually it's only really the starting, the best receiver on each team. But I brought up 2 because I think these guys are pretty even. I agree. I think Romo's better than Stafford. But you know what? 1 more year in the system. I think the chemistry is there. I mean, the guy is just a beast.
Also, I forgot to mention, they have Jahad Best there now.
Yes.
Maybe that puts a little less pressure. Another guy covering Best takes a guy away from Johnson.
I agree.
It could work out.
I agree. And Kevin Smith's a good back out of the backfield.
By the way,
as well.
He just got cut today.
Kevin Smith got cut?
Yes.
Oh, that's going to sound even better for my pick.
He's done.
Really? Yeah. So, I also like Nate Burleson, one of the guys I picked up late. But all I'm saying is, the defenses, I mean, he had a pretty decent year in Seattle last year. I mean, the defenses have to be honest. They can't double team on Calvin Johnson.
Right.
Because there's a veteran guy on the left side. They had no one before.
A lot of scouts have him as the best receiver in the league. If he's on another team, he's the number.
I agree.
Ahead of Larry Fitzgerald.
Well, I mean, their defense is very questionable, so they're going to put up points. That could be garbage points. He may get a late touchdown. And I also like Tony Scheffler. So, I mean, they got more weapons now. I agree. Johnny Best. They got weapons now to help Calvin Johnson. I think he's going to have a breakout year.
And it looks like Stafford and him are in sync. It looks like Stafford's putting up the ball a lot.
Well, he's a gunslinger.
Yeah,
I mean, he did that in Georgia, so.
And that's what you want with when you draft someone like that.
Oh, absolutely.
You want targets, and
he's a big dude.
He's going to be targeted.
Best pick of the draft for the Primetimers.
Well, I'm not going to pick the obvious ones because, like we said, he had the first pick in every round.
Yeah.
I think his best pick, honestly, was Jay Cutler in round 7.
In round 7?
Yeah, I like that a lot. And
but that kind of contradicts what you said at the beginning, because you said you would not have taken.
Well, if you have, he had to do based on his agenda, that's what I like.
Well, let's look at the draft board because you still had Stafford. He could have done the combination of. I mean, is Stafford that much worse than Jay Cutler? I mean, Cutler.
Yeah, Cutler's a proven.
He averages 2 interceptions a game almost.
He's a proven pro. He had adjusted the Bears.
4 years in the league.
He had
a pro.
More than Stafford is.
Okay. Eli Manning. Would you have picked Eli Manning, Carson Palmer, Matt Ryan? All these guys, I would have taken ahead of Cutler.
I like Cutler at 7.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't have taken him as a quarterback. Like I said, I would have taken Schaub.
Okay.
But if you're forcing me to take Calvin Johnson at 3 and then wait for a quarterback, I might have even taken Flacco next. I like Flacco a lot.
I'm not wacko for him.
Okay.